Let me show you how I make this amazingly delicious handvo in a muffin pan, which gives everybody a crust. Let's start this recipe with one of our main ingredients, and that is soji, coarse semolina. My mom and lots of other Gujaratis, actually most Gujaratis, will make the handvo with chana dal, tuvar dal, and a rice combo. That requires a little bit of planning on your part. You would either need to grind those chana dal, tuvar dal, and rice and then soak it, or soak it and then blend it. So little time consuming. I will mention that option as well in my recipe, so in case you're interested in that. I like this softer version with soji though, and this you don't have to plan it. Super easy to make. Okay, so what do we need? We need little oil. We will need more than this much oil. We will need it for roasting the soji and for the tadka. Tadka is the tempering. But tadka ingredients we will talk about later. So moving on, our second main ingredient today is dudhi, also known as bottle gourd, lauki, ghee, and more. Just look how cute it is. It's not super, but it's a smaller size dudhi. What else can you use in place of dudhi? Methi is a great option when you have that in season. Clean the leaves, wash it thoroughly, and then chop the leaves finely to add to the handvo. You can also do a combination of dudhi and methi. You can also use carrots in combination with dudhi or just carrots alone if you don't have dudhi. So here are three options: dudhi, carrots, or our methi. We will go with our dudhi today. Cool? So I'm gonna take the carrots and methi away. Next important step you must do right now is to taste the dudhi. Sometimes they can be bitter, and you don't want to mix the dudhi in the batter and then find out that it's bitter and you end up throwing everything away. So to prevent that, taste it before you move on. It should not taste bitter, okay? Actually, it tastes like nothing. Got it? Next step. We will need our usual green chilies, garlic, and ginger. Okay, so do you know what this is? This is fresh turmeric. I have fresh turmeric, so I'm going to add little turmeric to my green chilies, ginger, and garlic paste today. It's optional, so don't worry. But because of this, my fingers are picking up the yellow color from its peel. I'm going to add some fresh cilantro leaves to our handvo batter. Clean the cilantro, wash it thoroughly, and finally chop the leaves and keep them ready. I don't have any homemade yogurt today, so I'm going to use store-bought Greek yogurt. Yogurt does need to be a little sour, so I'm going to add little lemon juice if needed when making the batter. You just have to taste it and then decide. That's it for the main ingredients, besides the usual spices, the salt, sugar, turmeric, and red pepper. We need dried red chilies for the tadka or the tempering, oil of course, mustard seeds, hing, and of course my favorite, curry leaves. I can't do without it. We will need some sesame seeds to sprinkle on the top layer of our handvo. Also, I need to mention that you will need Eno or baking soda in this recipe. Lastly, we need a muffin pan for this recipe, or you can use a baking dish like this one. Either will work, but my favorite is the muffin pan because everyone will get a crust. I mean, that's important to me. When it's time, we are gonna spray the pan with a non-stick spray, or you can brush the oil on it. Okay, let's get this going. We are gonna add the soji to a non-stick pan. We're gonna add little oil, not too much. Fire up the stove on medium heat. We will have to roast the soji for 3 to 4 minutes. You must stir continuously, otherwise the soji will burn and you will have to start over. Keep stirring all around the pan. Don't just focus in the center. We don't want the soji to brown at all. Soji will become fragrant after a couple minutes. Remove from the heat and let this cool completely. You can always transfer to another plate from the pan if you want it to cool faster. Okay, let's take care of our blending. Need a little blender, some garlic, green chilies to taste. Of course, peel the ginger and add a small piece of that in the blender. Like I said, I want to add turmeric, so I'm going to peel it and add it to the blender. By the way, you can add a little water if you need help blending it. So today, it does not matter, so add a little water and blend it. Next step is peeling our dudhi. Once it's peeled, cut the bottom and the top part of the dudhi. Now, we need large hole grater for grating our dudhi. You can definitely use a food processor instead, if that's easier for you. I like to grate each side and avoid the seeds that will be in the center. But looking at this dudhi, there are no seeds in the center, which is great. I don't like to add the huge seeds from dudhi to my handvo. But because our dudhi has no seeds, I am going to grate this the whole way. All of it. I'm using all of it today. By the way, you can easily use the food processor for grating this. Finally, our dudhi is grated, and now we can make the batter. We will be making the batter in a larger bowl, so make sure your bowl is larger than what you think you need, and that's because we have to stir it vigorously. Start with our roasted soji that has cooled completely. Next, our grated dudhi, yogurt, our blended mixture with green chilies, ginger, garlic, and my turmeric. Salt to taste, of course. Turmeric to your liking, we can adjust later. Finely chopped cilantro leaves, as much or as little as you want. Little sugar, it's a must. You must have little sugar in Gujarati food. Time to mix. Mix all the ingredients well. Now look how thick this batter is. So let's add some water. Mix it again and add water as needed. Soji will require water. It will soak up some water. Next, we have to taste it. I need to adjust turmeric for the color, and I want a little more red pepper to make it spicier. And if I'm adding those two things, then a pinch of salt. You can add sour yogurt or little lemon juice if your yogurt is not sour. I'm using concentrated lemon juice for the ease of it. So taste it and adjust it to your liking. By the way, preheat the oven to 450 degrees. Next is our tadka. In a small non-stick pot or in a vagari like mine, add little oil. Let the oil heat. Once heated, not smoking, add mustard seeds. Let them splutter. Turn off the heat if needed. Add dried red chillies, my favorite curry leaves, and little hing. Add this tadka to the batter and mix it well. Give it a taste. Spray the muffin pan or apply oil using a brush. Either will work. As I mentioned to you earlier, I love using the muffin pans because everyone gets a piece that has a crust on it, a perfectly brown crust. It's important that you have the pan ready before adding Eno in the next step. Make sure your oven is preheated. You must have a spatula ready to mix with as well. Add Eno and then mix it in the batter. Only stir in one direction when you're mixing Eno into the batter. Do you see these white little bubbles? They need to be mixed into the batter properly. So keep stirring in one direction. Now that it has mixed well, using a spoon, we will place even amount of batter in each section. I like to keep my dried red chilies on top so someone unknowingly doesn't bite into it. That has happened to me in past, and I can handle it, but I'm not sure about my children. The handvo pieces which have the red chilies on top will be a little more spicier than others, so be mindful of that. Last and final step. I know we're almost there. Sprinkle sesame seeds on them. Clean the outside part of the pan using a paper towel. This way, whatever batter that has dropped on the outside or the oil or the sesame seeds that have fallen, all of that get cleaned up and they don't burn in the oven because then once they stick to the pan, they are harder to clean afterwards. So that's just a tip. You can do it, not do it, doesn't matter. It won't affect your handvo. Next, we are going to put the muffin pan in the oven for 30 minutes, and then we are going to broil it on high for that beautiful brown color. Yay! It's ready. I ate 8 of these 12 muffins as soon as I was done recording. Like, so yum. It's just like super delicious and nice and soft. I just love the soji handvo. I did save 4 for my daughter because that's her dinner too. How do I enjoy it? I like to add little peanut oil on top of my handvo and then enjoy it with chas. Of course, my chas has little salt, little cumin, and little red pepper in it. It's so delicious. You guys have to give this recipe a try. I'm sure your picky kids will like it too. Until next time, take care.